Thank you to Media Post for having me, and thank you to Erin for being an amazing customer. People have a lot of confessions for me, a lot about their late night. So Liz, thank you for sharing some of yours. And this morning, Stuart, I met Stuart, and he was talking about how in between the wedding and his wedding and the reception, his whole family went to Whataburger in between because they grew up in El Paso. So whenever I meet a Whataburger customer, they always have a story, and that's what I'm going to talk with you about today. I do have to do a quick shout out to my friends from Empower. They do our media buying for us, and I have to say I'm impressed that you're here in a sports coat. So, you know, you could take them off later for the cruise or whatever. So I'm going to go quick because I have a lot of great slides and videos for you, but what I would say is this. We have a lot of tools and a lot of data and a lot of analytics, and they're all really, really important to everything that we do. Sometimes I think we get analysis paralysis, and sometimes I think we forget that we really have to connect with the customer, because if we don't, they're just a number to us, right? We have to find ways to use that data and analytics to find them and make sure that we make connections with them, either in person or digitally. So that's what I'm going to talk with you about today. So before I get started, in case some of you are not familiar with Whataburger, in 1950, an entrepreneur named Harmon Dobson wanted to make a burger so big it took 2 hands to hold, and when people bit into it, they would say, "Whataburger." So that's how you say it, and that's where the name came from. And we use that sort of entrepreneurial spirit to keep moving us forward. And as you can imagine, we've gained a few customers along the way, and I'm assuming this is the clicker, and let's go. 75 years of flavor and fandom. That's our old A-frame. That's what a lot of people remember, and that's where the table tents come from. If you don't know what a table tent is, come find me later. I'll tell you all about it. Listen, we listen to our fan base all the time. Not just me personally. Whenever I'm approached about a great Whataburger story, I think Erin asked me, do I ever get sick of hearing them? No. Why would I get sick about hearing your Whataburger stories? That's amazing. Every time you tell me your Whataburger story, it connects with me, and I think of other things that we can do and the team can do to connect with our customers. Okay. I can't remember what this slide is, so I'm going to show it to you, then I'll tell you about it. We're introducing the new LTO.
Chef, it's time.
I'm on it.
Ready. Wow, Chef, this looks amazing.
I still got it.
You asked, we listened. The Mushroom Swiss is back from the vault for a limited time.
That's our new LTO, the Mushroom Swiss Burger. What I would say about it is it's not new. So for our 75th anniversary, we started with our food. Right? We said, let's bring back the legends. So we have change.org petitions out there asking for some of our sandwiches to come back. The Mushroom Swiss was one of them. That is actually our CEO, Debbie Stroud, about 2 months into the job, 3 months into the job, and that is our executive chef, James Sanchez. And so in addition to, that's kind of an internal branding thing that we do and put it on our socials, but we want our customers to know who our CEO is and that we have an executive chef, and to show that we are listening to their change.org petitions and bringing back the legends. And then I believe this is the LTO spot. So even the advertisements that we're running are using social media comments. So we can post a picture of a puppy, but ultimately people always say, but bring back the Mushroom Swiss, or bring back the A1 Thick and Hearty. And so this is our answer to them in our ad campaign, is using those same social comments.
Whataburger, bring back our mushroom Swiss burger. I heard corporate said it's never gonna happen.
Corporate here. We had the bandwidth to circle back on this action item, and
We're aligned. Bringing you grilled mushrooms, melty cheese, and creamy au jus sauce. If synergy like that isn't cool, then we don't know what is. The mushroom Swiss burger is back.
we're bringing back the hits.
What a burger!
And our 75th lockup. So, you know, we have a lot, since we've been around for 75 years, we have to keep the flames fanned throughout generations of customers. These are some examples of that, right? So up in the upper left-hand corner, people are crazy about Whataburger. I mean, I wake up every day and I can't even imagine the things that they do, and yet they still do it. When they have babies, they wrap their babies in taquito paper, put them on top of a tray, and then take pictures like that. I'm so worried that the babies are gonna fall off the tray, but they do it anyway. This lady down in the corner, Trisha Ruiz, her husband needed to move for a new job. She said, I'll go, but the requirement is I have to be able to walk to a Whataburger. They were like within a mile or two, but she couldn't walk, and so instead he built her a chicken coop that looks like an A-frame, and she has chickens, and that's just what people do. We have people who dress up for Halloween and other occasions. We have an Animal Crossing and all kinds of video games, people building Whataburger gear and scenes. That's a cake up in the right-hand corner. And then if I can play this video for you, this is an influencer that we did not pay to sing about our honey butter chicken biscuit. And let's see if I can make it play. Oh, I guess I can't. Is it? Okay, I'm not going to sing it for you, but I'll send you out the link. It's great. Josh Prayer is his name, and if you look it up, he does an amazing honey butter chicken song. So another way that people love to get married at Whataburger, they get engaged at Whataburger. They do promposals at Whataburger. They do anniversaries at Whataburger. This is interesting. Sometimes they want to just do a memorial at Whataburger, and so we will cordon off like an area and give them the breakfast that Grandpa used to have so they can have a little time over coffee and a honey butter chicken biscuit to memorialize that. But people also really love to include us in their weddings. So this year for our 75th anniversary, we held a social media contest and asked people to tell us how they met and how Whataburger was involved with that. Haley and Michael won, and we did an activation at our Vegas. We have a new Vegas location on the Strip. It's 2 stories, and I think this video should work.
Come get married with us at Whataburger. There was one night that we were at a Whataburger in Austin, and that was actually the night that we had our first kids.
What a great day for a wedding, right? What a wedding! So, Michael, do you take Haley to be your wife? I do. Haley, you take Michael to be your husband. Okay. So now, by the powers vested in me by the state of Nevada, I now pronounce you, help me everybody, husband and wife.
Explain my love for Whataburger through ups and downs, eat our Whataburger, and everything's okay. No matter what's going on.
Lots of fun. Had a great time. We were all out there. There we go. So some of you may have heard about this. We have a thing called Whataburger Museum of Art. It started online. We created a separate Instagram account for it because guess what? People were also creating art about Whataburger. They were crocheting burgers. They were macrameing, planter hangers in orange and white. And so we thought, well, let's give them a platform where they can do this and use the Whataburger platform. So we have an Instagram account. It's at the Wamoa. And it's grown over the years. Really, we did it digitally because of COVID. We really wanted to do it in real life, but as it turned out, it was probably better to start digitally first. And so we thought, well, 75 years, South by Southwest, can't think of a better way to bring it to life. It took an enormous team effort, but I'm going to show you a little bit of the video. It was a great success. We had we were there for 2 days, and we had 7,000 people come through. So I think we're going to take it on the road. So here's a little view of it. It was a ton of fun. And we had the artists there too. We had the food truck there serving food. Again, that, when Aaron talked about unlocking core memories, there were so many people there who were unlocking core memories and talking to us about how important Whataburger was to their life. And this just reinforces it, right? This makes them think about going again. It sort of gets them thinking about the smells and the tastes. And so we're looking at sort of a trailer that we're going to take around for the tour for the rest of the year to do a mini Wamoa. So. Okay, so looking back to look forward, this is a thing that really happens. We have a couple of franchises that have the old restaurants, and so in Texas, people do show up in their horses, and we will serve them on their horse, because why not, right? This is What a Guy. I don't know if that's our mascot. We can't decide if he's creepy or fun, and I think that's probably good. We always talk about that we're kind of that weird but cool brand. We have a National Whataburger Day. So 3 years ago, we decided that on our birthday, August 8th, that it should be National Whataburger Day, right? Nothing else was going on August 8th. And so for the last 3 years, National Whataburger Day has been a thing. The first year, what we did was we took a look at, using data, who our most loyal customers were, and we invited them to our home office, gave a huge celebration, did tons of giveaways. We did a free burger on the app. The app crashed for about an hour, and then we went back online and said, thanks for crashing our party. And as you can imagine for all the digital geeks in here, we drove more downloads than we ever had in the history of the company, and we have been tracking ever since, and those 30-40% of those people are still coming back. As this year's August 8th National Whataburger Day comes up, we've got a lot of fun stuff planned. We also started a microsite this year called 75 Stories for 75 Years. I will tell you, like most brands, you had a brand content hub, maybe like 2017, 2016, and then kind of everybody walked away from that a little bit over the past couple of years because of all the ways that we can target people through social and digital advertising. But we're going back to the art of storytelling again because we really see the connection that it makes. And so that's something that we stood up for this year as well. And, I'm taking notes. So if you have any stories, let me know. I'd like to follow up. We're making new friends. Lainey Wilson is a new friend. We haven't had a sports partnership for years. Nolan Ryan was our last time that we had a celebrity spokesperson. Here's the thing about Lainey. We didn't just pick her. She's actually a Whataburger fan. She grew up in Louisiana, and it was 40 minutes from her house, and that was a real treat for her and her family to go to Whataburger. And when she's touring on the road, as you can imagine, because we're 24/7, that's where they go. That's where the band goes, because it feels like home to them. And we did a ton of research to find out whether she hit our target demographic, and we did a lot of polling, and really she rose to the top. And so we have a great ad campaign going on with her right now. I don't know if you've seen it. You may have seen billboards if you drove in, up and down. And so what we did, the first way we kicked it off was that when she announced the partnership from 6 to 11 that day, you could get a free honey butter chicken biscuit at any Whataburger across our footprint. So we're in almost 17 states, 1,100 restaurants, and we just gave away a ton of honey butter chicken biscuits. And we also got a lot of app downloads because people wanted to participate in that too. I think we have some fun social from Lainey. In addition to the ad campaign, we have stuff like this where she's going to help us for our 75th anniversary.
Whataburger. There's a lot of different ways you can say Whataburger. Whataburger. What a burger. Whataburger. What a burger. Whataburger. Whataburger. Is it just Whataburger? It's Whataburger. That's it.
We have people call us Whataburger. They don't know how to say it, so she did a fun riff on that. She's also really fun too, right? Like that's part of our brand is we always think when we try to, everybody's always doing personas of their brand. We always say we're weird but cool. We're kind of living in that quirky space, and so she's a little quirky and fun, and so she fits in nicely with our brand. And this is what Erin was talking about. So, we didn't sponsor the Final Four, and we had to work outside of the clean zones. And so we worked with our team and our agencies, and the airport was out of that clean zone. So as soon as you got to baggage, we painted the town orange, and then we did a bunch of sampling on Friday. We brought in some of our iced coffee and some of our food. We gave away these enormous, those big chains everybody's wearing at sports events, so that when people walked out of the airport and were going to their hotel rooms and the media was taking all the skyline shots, there were all these W's everywhere. And then on the Saturday, I literally spent 5 hours with the team out in the sun. We had our food truck out there. We were just giving away swag, giving away samples of our food. We had a DJ, and we had Andy and Ari that do a sports podcast on YouTube interviewing some athletes. And so that's how that went. And I think that's it. Any questions? I think Erin is...
All right. Am I on? Here we go. Donna, thank you so much for talking us to a little bit about the Whataburger history. We're going to move into the Q&A section. Who has questions for Donna? I will call on people, Sarah Whedon from Papa John's, if no one else asks a question. All right. I saw this hand over here first, but you're closer. And you get a 10, how much is the gift card?
I don't know how much is on there. That's
Ooh,
when
it's
you
a
have
Russian
a great
roulette.
team. They're
Who
like, here,
knows?
take it.
Who are you and where are you from? Well, I just got called out. Sarah Whedon from Papa John's. Erin and I go way back.
Papa John's.
Days. Thank you. This was really great. I am really curious about all of your free giveaways. I think we have had a lot of exploration in that in my life in QSR. Yeah. And we tend to battle it out with our operations friends on things like that.
What?
What? Crazy. We're in a safe space of marketers here.
Yes.
And so I'm just curious how you kind of have worked through that and what you've seen in that world.
That's such a great question. I would say surgically. We really have to gear people up for it and explain the benefits. I think everybody in this room knows that as marketers, everything that we do, the operations team feels like we're doing it to them, not for them and with them. And so we really had to have a lot of virtual meetings with them to kind of get them, to talk up why this is important. Like everybody else, breakfast has changed, right? And we have breakfast from 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. But even then, after COVID, breakfast isn't the same anymore, right? I see my team walking in with 3 drinks, right? It's their coffee, their weird juice, and something else, and that's it usually matches their outfit, by the way. I'm a little older, so I take note of these things, but won't do them. But so a honey butter chicken biscuit isn't necessarily the thing that people will stop for along the way. So since there's some softness there, that's how I can talk them into listen. Are we going to make a ton of money by giving away honey butter chicken biscuits? No, we are not. But it's a small price to pay to drive new traffic, right? And really, sometimes I have to be kind of blunt to say, is your lobby empty? Is your drive-thru empty at breakfast time? I'm going to drive traffic. I'm going to create demand for you. You have to capture it. You have to give a great, you have to promise me that you have smiling faces and hot honey butter chicken biscuits, and you're going to act like you love this activation, right? And I promise you that you will gain new customers because they'll taste that taste, they'll experience the hospitality. And so we have the team tracking, and I wish I had the numbers at the top of my head of how many we gave away, but it was a lot. But we are tracking that those people are coming back for breakfast. It's not a ton, but it's enough to make a difference. But I would say, it's communicate, and over-communicate because they're just very literal sometimes, and so they just need, and sometimes I think I'm just a cheerleader. If I can get them kind of excited about it, then they buy in. So I hope that helps.
I saw a hand over here. There we go.
Mine is somewhat piggybacking off of that. Hi, I'm Jill Gutierrez from GSTV.
Hi, Jill.
not to ask the same question, but
Yeah.
I've talked to a lot of marketers, and they're always saying, like, it's for advertising and running advertising campaigns, yes, it's measurable, but every time I speak to a marketer, they're like, they want to know, how do you measure success? Or
Yeah.
like, we did this number in sales, but what did marketing contribute to that? So I'm curious how, for Whataburger, how do you measure those type of things that might not be so tangible?
Yeah.
Like, how do you measure the success?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So it's still an art and a science, right? But we do have ways. So if we do an offer, we can do it just digitally, and then we'll get all of the information from our mobile app. And we can tell how many new people downloaded the app, and if they paid for the offer, and then also, or if they took advantage of the offer, and then if they've come back. On premise, it's a little harder, right? But we can look at sales, and we use some first-party data where we can get some of that information, and we can track sales, right? So the finance team will follow, like for the honey butter chicken biscuits, the sale of honey butter chicken biscuits over time. So of course we see a huge spike that day because they gave them away, right? But honey butter chicken biscuit sales, we will now look at through the rest of the year and kind of see if there's a correlation. Again, art and science, but it does help. I would say when we're doing activations, like with our food truck and things like that, we try to use every possible way, QR code, links, coupons. So those big medals that we were giving out on the other side, it was a QR code to download the app. And so we're able to track that. Sometimes it's just, the number of people that attended the event. And when we're reporting back up to senior leadership, you kind of have to give the whole picture, right? Pictures of smiling faces and people having a great time, analytics from finance to give you any sort of correlation whatsoever, digital stuff, and if you give them the package, they get it. But you do have to back it up with something, otherwise, everybody's like, oh, you're just spending money to have a great time out there. Like, my thumbs will tell you from opening up the cellophane on those medals, like, I don't know how fun that part was, but, But what I would say is, guess what? We didn't pay millions of dollars in ads for Final Four, but we got thousands of people walking around with a big chain with a W on it, so with a scan on the back. And you know what? They're going to wear those chains to other events because they're kind of cool looking, so that's sort of hope that helps a little bit.
I can confirm the chains were everywhere during
Right?
the game. Yes.
I went to the Jelly Roll concert on Saturday night, and as I was walking in, a lot of the chains were coming out, and I was like, yes, the chains. So.
One more question back here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Brendan Haney from T-Mobile Ad Solutions. In terms of, you have a very passionate fan base, which you're obviously nurturing. How do you balance keeping those folks engaged and feeling heard with the sort of new customers who may be approaching that journey and be like, that lady's got a chicken coop? Like, how do I even get into this culture?
So the question is basically, how are we working with new customers and like as we're going into new markets? Is that kind of what I'm hearing? Yeah.
New customers and balancing that with your passionate fan base.
Right. So it's a really good question and one we grapple with every single day. There is this bridge that needs to occur from the nostalgia, right? So I hear nostalgia all the time from anybody who's in sort of our core markets. We're going to be in 17 states this year. 80% of our restaurants are still in Texas. So we kind of have an internal mantra to fortify Texas, right? To make sure that we keep that nostalgia alive and well. And so it's almost two separate campaigns. In new markets, we don't have that nostalgia, right? Like in Kansas City, there's Culver's. They're pretty attached to Culver's. They've had memories there. They haven't had memories with us, right? We're now in Colorado, South Carolina, North Carolina, Atlanta, Nashville, Memphis. And I'm gonna steal a quote from one of our copywriters who said, you can't export nostalgia, but you can export personality, which I thought was kind of genius because it kind of summed up what we're trying to do. So we are actually trying to use some of the stories of our customers from the Fortified Texas area to share that with our new markets to say, people get married at Whataburger. They wrap their babies into keto paper. Like, this is not just another burger place, right? This is a place where we can make memories. And so in addition to sharing those stories, we're also out there doing activations. So We have one food truck, right? We're a $4 billion company. We'll have 3 in August. That food truck, I mean, the guys that drive that food truck are just like, you can imagine, not the most comfortable drive, right? It's on the road all the time. But to us, that is the best way to introduce ourselves. Show up with the food truck. We don't sell food, we give away food. And so we're going into the new market so people can taste the food. And then we try to do an activation on site that starts to build memories with them in North Carolina. So we were in Raleigh 2 weeks ago. And we parked the food truck. We told everybody we were coming. We had a big tent with merchandise, lots of QR codes and things of that nature. It started pouring rain and people still waited in line to just get a taste of our patty melt. And so those are the kind of ways that we're doing that. I would say, also with the help of Empower and our other agencies, we're trying to target texpats. So, those are our first ambassadors when we go into those new markets. They do have core memories from Texas, but they might live in new states, right? Like, Erin had Whataburger in Florida, but she still holds that core memory where she is today. And so we're trying to figure out like how to use them as ambassadors as we go into these new markets. Those are some of the ways. But it's not easy, right? Not gonna lie. We're constantly looking for new ways to do that. I think influencers is another way. We try to find influencers that might have a connection between the two that can help tell the story and kind of unlock emotions, for lack of a better word, because otherwise we are just another burger stand by the side of the road. So I hope that helps.
Donna, I can't believe you haven't even talked about the Wrangler collaboration. I'm wearing the vest for you.
Oh, yeah. I'll just real quick, we do a ton of collaborations with great brands. Erin's modeling the What a Wrangler vest. Obviously, Wrangler's based in North Carolina, but obviously they have a lot of that. I don't know if you know, it's the cowboy cowgirl era going on right now, which is really great for Whataburger because we fall into that space. Wrangler's been a good friend for a long time, and we thought the time is right. So we have a whole line of merchandise. Whatastore.com. We're a lifestyle brand, right? So people love to wear our clothing, and so there are orange and white striped bell bottoms. There's vests and hats and all kinds of things. We do partnerships with Yeti, James Avery. I don't know if any of you know what Chubby's is. Does anybody know? Yeah. I mostly see guys that are golfing in them. They're matching shorts and tops, and they're kind of bright patterned. Bobby Witt Jr. from Kansas City is another sponsor for us and spokesperson. And he called and asked if he could have 6 or 7 of the same matching outfits for his buddies, and of course we shipped them off because we knew they were going to be on the golf course in the Chubbies. So we do a lot of fun collaborations like that. Was there another question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, Justin Whitehead, CC's Pizza.
Yeah, love CC's Pizza.
Yeah, I love Whataburger. And we're actually in a little bit of a similar situation. This is our 40th birthday year.
Oh, congratulations.
We're relaunching a fan favorite that we had taken off the menu. So this is all very relevant. And I'm just curious, did you, it's kind of a two-parter. Did you do you showed the Mushroom Swiss ad, right? Is that kind of your main message behind the 75th birthday? Are you doing any sort of paid media or commercials around just brand nostalgia for 75th? And if so, how did that work?
Yeah, so I think if you look at the normal traditional marketing funnel, the brand awareness piece of it is Lainey Wilson and Bobby Witt. So they're basically talking about how. So Bobby Witt, by the way, also grew up on Whataburger. Again, we didn't just pick him because he's a up-and-coming, amazing baseball player and a really nice guy, by the way. But his family literally loves Whataburger. I've sat in his parents' house. His dad was played with the pros, and I don't remember why I was going there. But both Lainey and Bobby are helping tell the story at a very macro level of. This is where you go, win or lose. After the game, after the show, we go here because this is how it is for us. So it's a very personal story. So that's sort of the brand awareness. That's where we leaned in with celebrities for the 75th. As far as the menu items, obviously we sell food, so we would be remiss if we didn't. So we took a look at what are people asking for the most. Let's bring those back quarter by quarter. The first quarter, we brought back the Monterey Melt. Second quarter, we brought back the Mushroom Swiss. I would tell you what's coming next, but I'd have to kill you. But there's that. There's sort of the menu part of it. And then if you look at sort of the transactional piece, the field marketing part of it, or the couponing and the specific targeting, a lot of the offers that we're doing, like we just recently redid the look of our app, and so we're giving away 75,000 points for people who order within a certain time frame. You get a chance to win 75,000 points. We're getting ready to give $75,000 to a nonprofit called the Birthday Project on our birthday. And so what they do is they provide, you might know of them, probably do. Okay, yeah, so I mean, like, how cool is it, 75th birthday, but we're also gonna give $75,000 to help kids have birthday parties who, might not otherwise have a birthday party. And the list goes on and on. We've got a whole team that's working on all 3 levels of those activations in a traditional marketing funnel, because we know we can't just do it one way. And like the Whataburger Museum of Art, that might be traveling around, but our field marketers are now working with local high schools and elementary schools to hold art contests. And then they're gonna hang the art on the walls of the restaurants, have the teachers and the kids and the parents come in, driving traffic, also doing good. And we've talked about, do we auction off the art, which will obviously be bought by the parents and the grandparents, and then give the money back to the school, kind of thing. So those are some of the ways that we're trying to do the full funnel there. Hope that helps. But
Donna, thank you so much
yeah,
for kicking us
guys.
off this morning.